Max, welcome.
Hello.
Guys, I have Max Privalov here. Max is with a company called Peiko, and the reason I got Max today to talk with me was the fact that Peiko is ranked number 95 out of top 100 companies worldwide, according to Clutch. Max, congratulations on the achievement, by the way.
Thanks. Hi, Mike.
Um,
Nice to hear you. Nice to see you.
First question for you. Are you guys intentional about ranking high on Clutch, being the top three companies that are developing blockchain, the top 100? Like, what's that kind of marketing strategy, and why and how intentional you guys are with like all of this ranking?
Actually, ranking on Clutch is one of our um, core things that we achieved last year, and yeah, we were intentional to make it. And I think that, and we think that this is the basis for a service team. We definitely need to have good reviews, and I guess that the best source of reviews is Clutch. Right now, of course, there are several other services, but Clutch is, I don't know, maybe 50% higher than there is the first place, no second place,
Yeah.
and the third place. I mean, so definitely it's leading.
Mhm.
And yeah, we tried to work hard last year and the previous year because we were in the top 1,000 last year, and this year we achieved a higher position. But it's not like we just asked our clients to leave reviews and that's all. And of course, we had this in our strategic meeting. It was one of our goals, and we try to make a lot of efforts to, for example, how to speak with the client, how
Right.
to launch their projects and other things. And then only then we received a good
Mm.
review, and that's why we have 500
Rating. Yeah.
million. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So Clutch is one of the sources to generate leads for you guys. What are the other sources that you would say like top three for you besides Clutch that brings good leads?
Uh-huh. So we still have an Upwork, and
Mhm.
with AI tools, it became much more easier to do that. But of course, not the stupid AI usages we see from some teams. But yeah, we receive quite a lot leads from Upwork and I guess our website. So that's all.
And when
Patch
you drive
up.
traffic to your website, like what are the sources like blogging, organic content creation, advertising? How do you get the traffic to the website?
Mainly blogging, of course,
Mhm.
Clutch, but I separated Clutch
Right.
from here, and
Yeah.
we counted as Clutch leads, of course. So it can be mainly blogging, and sometimes we turn on the advertising on Google,
Mhm.
but can't tell that it is very effective, but still ROI is good, so that's why we
Mhm.
are using that.
Gotcha. How many leads would you say total you generate a month from total all the sources right now? I want to understand your volumes.
Wow, we have quite different numbers. For example, one month we can. You mean leads or clients with whom we work? We
No, no,
started to
leads,
work.
leads, general
Leads.
leads right now, like conversations, opportunities, people that you just talk to a month.
Well, it can be 25, for example, and then
25.
other month it can be 10, and the third month it can be something like 35. But I guess the 25, 35 is the average number.
Average you get. Okay. And then you guys specialize on like blockchain development. So is that your like core focus, or like you do different sort of development, and blockchain is one of the niches basically, but not necessarily the one that most of the clients are with?
So 80%, we are a blockchain development company. So yeah, we mainly work with blockchain, and 80% of our projects are related to blockchain somehow, and this is our core specialty. But we also try to be flexible a little bit
Mhm.
with some other projects, and we have 20% of other projects mainly related to marketplaces because uh, I personally have quite wide experience in marketplaces and worked in marketplaces.
Mm-hmm.
And a wider niche, which is fintech, and blockchain is a part of a fintech. So we work with the
Right.
fintech a lot, and mainly SaaS projects,
Mm-hmm.
if we're taking fintech. So, yep.
What was the decision, or why was the decision to niche down to blockchain and fintech? What was the thinking process when you decided to do that?
Well, I don't think that it was intentionally that
Mm-hmm.
we gone to blockchain. It was before 2017, the first big Bitcoin run,
Mm-hmm.
and we started to work with the for that time. Uh, they were several big clients. We started to work with them, and we understood that we are having an expertise. And after that, we had um, strategic meetings,
Right.
and we just discussed what can we do to uh, grow fast or something like that. And we
Mm-hmm.
decided that niching is one of the things that we can do, and we have a really good expertise in blockchain, and we need to go there. And
Mm-hmm.
comparatively to other teams, we had a really very extensive experience with blockchain, and it helps us still.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that it was a good, smart decision back then, like branching down to niche? Like, was it like a um, let's do a little bit differently. How did that impact? How did that decision impact your overall like company growth? Did you guys become growing faster, selling better, having higher, better, healthier numbers with clients, so on and so forth? What had changed?
uh, 5 times X. Well, you say if it was a good decision, we made a 5 times X from that time. So yeah, I definitely think that it was a good decision, which boosted us really well. And I see it even now. Clients usually decide to work with partners who already have an experience in their niche. Even in blockchain, somebody can decide between, oh, you work with X exchanges and we need a wallet, and we will choose the company which works with only wallets because we
Mhm.
think that they have a really good experience here. I don't think that it is always a wise decision, but that's how all of I think 99% of clients think, and they decide usually by expertise. And
Domain
if we,
expertise. Yeah.
yeah, and if we would try everything and we would work with everything, we just had a lot of projects here and there, but without particular expertise, and we
Mhm.
will be somewhere in the middle, and that's all.
So is this your unique selling point right now? You mentioned like this being the domain expertise, or what are the other things that you are considering your unique ESP? Or is like I actually talked to a few folks and they said like in software development or in professional services there is no unique ESP. There's only innovation and quality. That's it. Like what's your take on this?
Yeah, I partially agree on that. Well, mainly agree, but not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely hard to be unique in software development. When you're a software company, service company, uh, and definitely you need to have a very good quality of your work. Of course, price. I don't think that with the bad pricing you can win somehow, but also then after some time we found that we can have few unique things which are uh, essential for a good service company. For example, you should be very flexible for your clients.
Mm-hmm.
Second one, you need to want your clients succeed. So
Mm-hmm.
you are definitely interested there to succeed, because if they are succeeding, then you receive more job, of course, because
Right.
with this success they come to you. Then what else? You need to up to date your knowledges, especially in blockchain. It's essential.
Always growing.
And what else? What else? What else? What else? I guess that's also still we can't tell that it is a very unique thing, but I saw a lot of companies which uh, cutted clients just because those clients didn't want to work through the model which this company told. And I
Mhm.
think that it is a bad decision because
Mhm.
it's better to have a less beneficial client now, but the client who can succeed in the future. I mean, the client who
Mhm.
really wants, who really knows how to grow the product. They know how to receive investments or how to fund themselves. They know how to get a good marketing, or they know the people with the good marketing skills. And in the future, you will receive much more.
Right.
And I don't know what even maybe listeners will not understand that, but I think that a lot of companies they miss the basics
Yeah, so it's
here.
like a life cycle. So every client has a certain cycle, and sometimes one business model and one type of engagement can work well for them. The later it can be a totally different game, right? Like you just sort of like focusing on the growth and the long term relationship rather than like fast uh, get this or not or show for someone else in sort of okay. Can you tell me, you mentioned again being customer obsessed, providing a flexible engagement model. So what is Payco's core business model right now, and how why would you say it's flexible? Like, do you offer different business models depending on the client, or can you sort of like explain that part of your current existing business model and then the flexibility in it?
Yeah, sure. So in service companies usually have two main models, as you know, the outsourcing, outstaffing. Outstaffing can be then we can split it by the payment models: prepayment, postpayment,
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
fixed price, time and materials, and something like that. We started with fixed price projects because we thought that a lot of clients want that, and we
Right.
don't have a lot of experience. But after some time, we found that it is really that model for working, not just because it's not so profitable, but because you're not focusing on the product, actually. You're focusing on receiving money, client focusing on receiving money, you're focusing on receiving money, and nobody focus on the product.
Mm.
And that's
Right.
why everybody lose in this situation. So after some time, we found that we should work mostly through time and materials model. So we
Hmm.
do have outsourcing when we receive the project. We do have expertise. Actually, that's why we are niching, because for outsourcing projects, for expertise, you can receive better profits. Because for clients, it's much more cheaper to hire the company with wide expertise. It will be much cheaper for them, even
Right.
if the rates are bigger.
Mhm.
And the second is just outstaffing when clients hire our developers. But again, we can mainly compete in the niches that we have an expertise, because on the market you can find the cheap rates. And if you're, for example, looking for Node.js developer, of course they will see $15, 25, $50, $70 developers, and there will be no difference for them, because all of them have 3-4 years experience, 5 years of experience. It
Right.
doesn't matter for them. And niching helps you here, because even if your developer has 3 years of experience, he will be much more preferable than the developer with, for example, I don't know, 5 years of experience, but without this expertise.
Mhm.
And it's
So
definitely.
niching is basically you are able to charge more for the services, essentially, when you have more domain expertise, right?
Yes, and it is still beneficial for the clients. It's not like
Yeah.
we are
Right.
trying
Of
to.
course.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you still kind of obviously you because you have niche expertise, you've done this already. You know the frameworks, you know the bottlenecks that you might expect with this. You know the right
Definitely,
technologies. So
definitely.
essentially, client will save you will save more money for the clients and less mistakes. Makes sense. So can you apply that then this flexibility part that you mentioned to your engagement? So like in what way you guys are flexible then?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, let's take pricing and billing model. So usually companies have invoicing, like we have an 1 month prepayment. So you need to prepay us and you need to book
Hmm.
us for 1 month upfront or something like that.
Yeah.
What usually I do, or our people
Hmm.
do, we, of course, we do have a default model. We speak with the client, and if we see that this is the only thing that is blocking us for work, we are trying to understand the client and firstly trying to understand why do they want something else. For example,
Yeah.
they only want a post payment, or the typical type of ask is 50% upfront and 50% post payment. And clients think that it is fair, and on paper it sounds fair. Really,
Right.
you take 50, then you receive, and you are motivated and something like that. But
Right.
in real life, it doesn't work like that. So we are speaking with them, and the usually I propose the next thing, that we have a 2 weeks prepayment, or for example, if the project is not so big, or for the first sprints, we have half sprint prepayment. For example, 1 week prepayment, then they see results, then the second week prepayment, and after some time, several weeks, we have built the relationships. They trust us, and then we can continue. They see that we will not lie, or we are working well. They see the results, and
Hmm.
we always show the demos. So we are just trying to understand the clients and then
Hmm.
propose them a model.
Um, can you give an example of the company that when you first sign up, that wasn't as beneficial for your organizations, maybe margin wise, or deal wasn't as sweet, but then later in some time they transition into something that you're like, okay, now we're talking.
Yeah. There was a few years ago we had such a client. I
Hmm.
guess that with the main contract we had maybe 1% benefit, maybe two, I don't know.
Right, like
Uh,
margin, like very low
yeah,
margin. Yeah.
it was very low. We hadn't know that time that it will be so low, so we just signed a fixed price.
Hmm.
From other side, there was a very wolfish salesperson who started his
Right.
company, and we really wanted to work with him because we saw his experience before, that he had a lot of successful companies, and having such project in our portfolio would be very
Hmm.
beneficial. And actually,
Hmm.
it is true. We now can see that. And we started to work with him with a fixed price. And I don't know, after 2 months, we found that we are getting out of the budget. So the project will last for 6 months additionally. And
Right.
with our predictions, we found that there will be a very low margin
Hmm.
from our side. And client, as he was a salesperson in the past, he
Hmm.
thought, I don't know, he thought that maybe we are lying or something like that. So we were fighting a lot of time there. But at some
Right.
point, I just spent, I don't know, maybe 1 month to
Hmm.
understand his intentions and understand his thoughts, to uh, how he thinks, what he thinks about us. And after the ending of this main contract, uh, we were successful to discuss, to agree with him on time and materials contract. Not exactly time and materials, something in the
In
middle
the middle.
between time and materials and fixed price. So we had time and materials but with a limit, like 20 or 30% limit with that. And actually it worked for us because usually projects has some volatility.
Right.
But we are working with a fixed
Hmm.
margin here, and if we agreed on the fixed price, then it means that we will have no margin. So yeah, after some time
So
we
your
just
margins got better. Your margins got better over time,
60%,
and
and yeah, I guess that
wow.
60%.
And then you still work with basically, or you long work with the client for a long time. So it
Few yeah,
essentially you've made.
we've been working for a few years, and after some time we just as usually we just finished the work with him, and as there was no work, and that's all.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Interesting. So Now I understand, so like the benefit of like being flexible and over time getting more gain from relationship from the client. I think like some of the people listening to this would argue that it's great when you work with smaller companies or with a startup or with someone that is like you know that they're going to be growing, you know that they would afford that. So can you speak to your ICP right now? So
Mm.
maybe that's just, you know, you can be like you can offer this flexibility just because of the nature of how, what you work with, or you guys have a different. So talk to me about the ICP.
I thought that you will ask that how to do that with the big companies like
Yeah,
several thousand people.
yeah.
We don't have such experience with such big companies, and as we usually work as our main niche is blockchain. Yeah, we really work with startups or funded startups and something like that. It can be companies, but this is not something traditional as, I don't know, a big Philips company or, I don't know, Tesla. We
Right.
just don't. So partially it is true. We can be so flexible because we are working
Mhm.
with the startups here, and that allow us to find the common ground with them and move freely.
Mhm.
So our
Uh,
yeah our
I
ICP.
did you so you essentially there was no evolvement over time. You always work with startups, or did you try to work with the bigger companies and it didn't work out, or the startups and like smaller companies were like most of your target across the entire lifetime of your organization?
So we are trying sometimes to work with the bigger companies. Sometimes
Hmm.
it is successful, but it is still not our perfect ICP. We can work with them, but it is not our perfect ICP. And I think that we need to have much more system I mean better internal system to work with such enterprise clients, because we discussed that. So I think that for enterprise clients, you need to think for 1 year upfront. You need to have a lot of money that you can
Right.
spend and not earn just
Yeah.
to get this client.
Yeah.
So mainly
So you
that.
always need to sacrifice your margins on the short term. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
a longer sales cycle. Cost of marketing is much expensive. Then those guys they don't pay upfront, right? Then you have like net 90 or net whatever 6 months to
true.
be able to
That's
pay it,
true.
right? So and then they sometimes require a lot of like people on the job, like hey, we need like 20 more people or whatever, and then sometimes it's also the hiring expense or recruitment expense, and it goes all of that. Okay, so I understand, so the hesitation with the bigger clients, but then if you are servicing smaller clients, then you always need to have your pipeline, always need to have your sales team going after, because you experience some churn at some point in
That's
time. It's
true.
not like with
That's
the
true.
bigger companies you sign them up for like 4 years and you work with Boeing for like whatever. So can you speak to me about your like just your sales team and what's your sales approach and how it evolved over time, because I know that a lot of software development companies are struggling, or service companies specifically are struggling with building up the sales team, because your domain expertise is software, so it's run by software people. So generally speak to me about like how your team is looking right now, how it's evolved over time, and what's your approach to selling in this domain.
Okay. I just want to add one more thing regarding the startups, and that we are always struggling with the new clients. I
Hmm.
mean, when you're working with the startups, yes, that's partially true, and that's why you need to include in your strategy your clients' growth element. You need to work
Hmm.
with them, and that's why you're interested in finding the clients who know
Right.
what they are doing, and with their growth you receive
Mhm.
more, as I already told, you receive more work, and after some time it can be an enterprise level of the client. Really, we had several clients which gave us a very big non-startup contracts, but after some
Right.
time
Yeah.
it
Now
can
it
be
makes
even
sense.
10 months, 12 months after we started to work with them. They gave us something small, and after some time they succeeded. They received a lot of money, maybe more investments, and they came to us. And
Mhm.
at that moment, now we are working with an enterprise level client, but with more trust, and they also, it is more interesting to work with them because we are working as a startup with new ideas. We are
Yeah.
checking ideas every time. So
I've heard that. I heard that obviously enterprise companies are not very sexy to work with just because it's a very process driven, risk averse type of engagement. And sometimes you work only with a project manager, they have some tasks. So it's not as you're working with the C level of the startup and you're actually building and you see this technology being deployed, every month and then the customers and you get the data. So I understand. So talk to me about the sales team. How big is the sales team right now?
Uh, I guess we have only six. Yeah, we have 6 people. Four of them are sales and two lead gens. So this is actually all. We started working through getting the sales model. Of course, we are trying to sell in the way that nobody understands that we are sales. Of course, nobody wants to speak with sales, and that's why you need to be professional. You need to understand the topic. You need to read a lot about that, and a lot of times our people are even involved during the project, helping to understand better for the team how this project should work, what you discuss with the clients and something like that. So we really trying to be professional here. So we started, of course, with a very primitive sales model. Like usually, it works for a small sales. Usually, when you're trying to be very, I don't know, pleasant and trying to sell on the first meeting for the client with a lot of benefits. Why you? When then with the
Why you work with
pricing.
us, not with others? Yeah, but it didn't work, as I guess, right?
For big sales, no. For some designs, yes. For big sales, no, because of course, people with such budgets are not like not stupid, but they are not emotional in this.
Yes, right.
They're trying to understand with whom they should work. They know those techniques already, and when you are trying to use some techniques, sales techniques, with those people, they understand that you are not that you may lie in the future as well, because you are not real here. You are trying to sell and get their money. So I think that the best, and we came to the model which is called spin. I don't know.
Spin.
Probably and maybe listeners know about this model. And I think that it is the best model. And the best part here is that they made a lot of investigations, a lot of statistics there, and they have some information under that. They have some conclusions after that. And I think that it is much more ecological way to sell. Actually, you're not even selling in a classical way. You're not trying to use techniques. You're really trying to understand the client here and then find the solution. Of course, you need to dig deeply during spin. You need to spend more time. You need to make a lot of meetings here. But yeah, you need. But this method really works. And one more thing that you also need to understand. At some point, you also need to understand that you can't help this client with your knowledge or something like that, and just say that we need to stop here and that's all, and not waste each other time. And it will be better. Of course, the best option here will be to recommend somebody to this client, and this is the
Right.
method
So
that we choose.
it's actually interesting. So what you're saying here, just to rephrase real quick, so focusing on engaging with clients that have a long-term potential usually means that you need to say no to someone that you're not a good fit right now, because your needs doesn't match or because the way what they want to achieve doesn't match. So saying no early on without building up the pipeline with the conversation that would not lead to anyone to anywhere is basically just wasting your time and the time of the other party, basically, right? So what you guys are doing is you're leveraging a spin model where you wanted to learn more about the client needs, what they're trying to achieve, but at any point in time when you see that, okay, it's not working very well, then you're being honest about that and then moving on and focusing on the relationship that you know that it's a great relationship for both parties, right?
Yeah, that's
uh,
true. That's true.
okay. Interesting. And so when did you start implementing this type of mindset, this type of model? Early on in your company, or it was just the last few years, or just generally? Can you speak to me about this, the challenge of sales in the organization? Like, if I started my company, I'm new in this, and it's been only a few years. Should I be really that diligent about building the sales at this point, or it just come to me later on when I'm going to start scaling and growing?
Well, I guess that you can give us advice even here, but from our point of view, what can I say? I would tell that it's better to not separate sales or something else from your main goal. So
Hmm.
I will split it here. Will not answer directly because I think that you need to have a goal here. So you have a goal for your company, the goal for a few years, maybe even
Right.
for life. Then you decomposing it to 1 year goal. Then this goal is split between several departments and sales.
Hmm.
They have their own goals, and achieving those goals will lead you to achieving this goal, which is main goal for this year. So um, should somebody think regarding the a good sales now? Well, definitely you need to think about the sales every time, because this is one of the main parts in our work. So sales, development, these are the marketing. So
Yeah.
these are three main whales, I guess,
Yeah.
in the company.
Yeah. Even in software development company, right?
Of
Like where the
course, of
software,
course, of course,
right?
of course. Because if something is not working, then you will receive less results. So you always need to work. What I want also to say here, I think that everybody also needs to build a basics and build a fundamental base, and then dig in deeper into the details. For example, in sales, there is a common thing when you are listening to phone calls, or when you are reading the letters or something like
Right.
that, and you can spend hours and hours for advising how it's better to use this word or this word, this word or this word. This is important, definitely, but without the base, it will not lead you to a great results, I think, because what is base? It is to discuss what model of sales do you have. For example, you are using spin, or this is
Right.
not spin, how you are selling something. And the trick here, I think that everybody thinks that we know this, that we need to know how to sell, and we have some idea here, and it works for now. I mean, 15% of this knowledge will work for us. Let's dig deeper into sales. Let's read letters, phone calls, other things. Let's think about that. But it's better to spend hours and weeks on defining this goal, the
Right.
model of work, strategy, how you will work, how you will improve your sales, and only then dig in deeper. So this is
Yeah.
my advice. I think that
That's a great point. So instead of focusing on the operational matters, like the verbiage that you're using, instead think about the framework and the approach and just the mindset that you have, and try to build that to be fit in your what you're trying to achieve with your goals and your product, rather than just focusing on the people and the tooling and the details. That's actually very smart, and I agree with you here as well. All right. Let's talk more about Peiko from the DNA standpoint. If you were to describe company like a sort of like an elevator pitch, or like if I am a new person joining the company, what kind of vibration, what kind of environment I'm stepping into? Are you guys are like data driven? Are you like process driven? Are you like just freedom and do whatever you want? Or like generally, like talk to me about that. It's like DNA, values, environment, and vibing that are manifested in Peiko from someone that is like just looking at the company from the outside to inside.
So again, I I will use this word a lot of times here. So we are very flexible here, and this flexibility should lead us to a result. So we are very result driven here, but also it should be a very ecological results. So it should be a win for a client, a win for a company, and a win for our developers, internal workers, and employees. So it shouldn't be a compromise. It should be
Right.
the way where everybody wins here, and we really need to think about how to achieve somebody goal and how then we can achieve our goal with that. So I think that it is a very important thing of our DNA then. Continuous improvement, that we need to analyze our results. Of course, we have mistakes. We have a lot of mistakes, but the worst thing here is to not make any conclusions of this mistake, because mistakes usually cost a lot, and the best thing that you can buy with that is your knowledge and results.
Right.
And yeah, so this is, and of course you can make conclusions only with data. So we are trying. I'm not satisfied how data driven we are. I think that it will never end, but we are trying to do that. We have dashboards, we have metrics which we measure, and we are trying to back up our conclusions with those metrics. It does not work every time, but we are trying to do that. And one more thing that we actually gained after the full-scale war started, that we found that we need to be an impactful part of a society. Actually, before a full-scale war, unfortunately, we had our personal goals or something like that, which is normal actually, without any, I don't know, North Star. It is hard to build. It is hard to have such goals. So we understood that, and as you know, after a full-scale war, IT and tech in Ukraine became one of the very impactful and big parts of economy, and we are bringing money from outside, which is much more beneficial than generate them. And this was the first. So we should first thing, we should generate a lot of money from the outside. Second, we need to maintain our Ukrainian brand, because external help is very important for Ukraine, and we can't allow ourselves to speak badly with our clients, to show that we are some barbarians. That this is this. And the third, with more income, we can donate more. So we regularly donate to many initiatives, and with that we can impact. And actually, as you saw, we received more our awards during 2022, 2023, because we gained a lot of million here, and we concentrated on the same goal. We felt responsibility here, and that gave us more confidence and motivation what we should do. And we gained a lot of awards with that, and we are happy that we can impact here as well.
Congratulations for that.
Thanks.
Max. So when you mention measuring and tracking, how does that what are the main KPIs or like the main internal metrics you're sort of like using to measure the success that you're having?
So yeah, we have external and internal. If we are talking about internal metrics, of course the first one is a revenue, and this is the main goal, I guess. But we are not working for revenue only. It's just a metric of success. It's
benchmark,
it's like I don't know, oxygen. So we all need oxygen for living, but we are not living for oxygen. of everything. So, and then we have splitting of KPIs, which are number of new projects, number of successful projects that we released, then our speed of growth. What else? I guess these are the main. Also the number of successful sprints, then how successfully we are doing estimates with the clients. So basically, we have a main KPI, main metric. Then we have a metrics of the first level, which helps us to achieve the main goal. And then we have a metrics of the second level. I don't remember all of them because those are split
Right.
between the departments. So
Yeah.
of course, we have ROI. Of course, we have conversion and other things. These are the basics, of course, and they.
Does the profitability per client or margin per client matter for you? Do you track that? Or overall margins per
Yes, it
company, not
matters.
on the client level?
It is the metric of the second level. So it is
But
important.
it's on the client. Do you care about it on the client level or on the company level? So it's like we need just to hit this margins, let's say 20% margins overall per year for the company, or we need to get 20% per client or close to it. Because there are companies that are tracking on the company level, and those that are just really caring about that as the
Well,
KPI on the
yeah,
project level.
this is the thing with one of the things with which I'm not satisfied a lot. So yeah, we are tracking it on the company level, but I think that the better way is to track it to make a median of this metric, and this will be the best. So this is the thing that we need to improve. I think that it works better because in such situation you can have, is probably why you are asking this question, because you know that you can have a very good client with, I don't know, a lot of profitability and minus 1%.
Right.
So plus 60 and minus 1. The not median, but the medial number will be something like 30, which gives us nothing.
Yeah. When you mentioned win-win for client, win-win for the team, achieving the KPIs, like how does the KPIs and the success that you generate for the client somehow impact the compensation that the team has, or their KPIs? Like I know that very often for the software development, specifically in the industry, the motivation is more on a position level, like senior, middle, junior, or like just team lead or etc. But they're not correctly directed to some KPIs or some success that you generate for the clients. Like, what's your position and what's your company take on this?
I guess that this is one of my main pains for that moment. I think that it should be tight, and we should have a common ground here, and we should have a goal for all the team. Unfortunately, we don't have it right now. For now, we have it only for project managers and for other team, for development team. Unfortunately, no. But we are going in this direction because we found that 1 year or maybe 2 years ago that we really do have different aims on the project. Account team has one aim, project managers have their own aim, and they know they are not external. These are the aims that they think they have, even if they have the aims from the founders. So they think that the aim is this, project managers think that this, and development team think that this. Well, they are all looking at the same direction, but like this. So in the end, we are in the different spots, and I think that it should be tight, and team also should be involved, and they need to understand that the final result is not the written code. It is the successful project which works, and it generates value for the clients. So.
So this is something that you are still working on, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me then some challenging situation this year, last year, somewhere in the last nearest time, with regards to what you faced and how you overcame it? Something that maybe specific to your company size or your to industries, just to kind of give an idea for the listeners of some complex problems that companies of your scale should have or have sometimes, and the successful implementation of the solution for this complex problem.
Well, I guess that the common problems in service company is always somewhere near the pricing, the final outcome, and the quality.
Right.
So recently we had a situation with our very prospective clients, which we think that we do have a lot of skills to build a great product. So we had a situation with there that they had the budget. We estimated their project. We estimated one type of project. So it was much more simpler. It was like an MVP, and we discussed it with them. It was like it was an MVP with a simple functionality. And after some time, our project manager missed the part where clients pushed him to a more complex product with microservice architecture, with a lot of DevOps involvement, which is very expensive. And it became maybe one of the most complex projects that we had. And clients started to blame us that we underpriced them at the beginning, which sometimes with development companies may happen. I mean, intentionally, but we did not intentionally. So they started to blame us with that. And I also spent a lot of time on working with them, discussing what situation do we have. We found the problems that they have on their side, and we just step by step started to resolve every problem. And from our side, we made a huge discount, but not like a discount like, guys, you have this budget, let's just discount and that's all, we will have margin. We calculated what mistakes we had made from our developers, and it was something like, first time it was $20,000, then $40,000, something like that. We calculated it truly, and we just subtracted this price from the pricing. It was a significant part of this project, and our margin dropped significantly. But we decided that this is right, that we made a mistake. Of course, a lot of companies would tell that we'll try to find the solution, how to blame the client or how to polish the situation to receive all the money. But we decided that it would be just right to admit that we made the mistakes, and that's why we are giving back those money. And that helped us then in the future receive, I guess, 3 or 4 times more than we already received before. Of course, we didn't make that with an intent to receive more. We just believed in those clients. We thought that they will succeed, and we need to help them here. They really need to have better budget for marketing and other things. And that's why we just refunded them this sum, and it helped them. They started to grow, and that's how we won, they won. And in this situation, somebody can think, well, wait, guys, you lost 40,000, but we really gained much more in this situation. And it was normal for us. We still had some little margin, which was okay for us, and then we gained more.
So this, it got me thinking about the satisfaction of the client. Like, do you guys like measure it like in terms of like NPS or something? Or you have that, yeah?
Yeah, this was one of the first projects of our new project management lead, and it was successful. And this is the really essential thing that should be present in the companies. You should ask your clients what they really think about the development, and this is a great point of growth, actually. And it's better to receive honest answers, not like an answers that everything was great, blah, 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 thanks for the work, goodbye. It's better to think to receive those answers, and these answers even can help you to continue the work with the client. Sometimes we really change something. We finish the work, then we discuss it with the client. Our, for example, project manager who didn't work on this project, like a third party. Somebody who is an internal worker, but they didn't work with this client. They asked that client, they found a lot of things that can be improved. We improved them and proposed client to continue somehow. We continued. But this is not an intent. I mean, that this is a side effect, I would tell.
Gotcha. Okay. If you guys were to do Peiko again from the ground up, starting right now, how would you do it differently? How would you build the company differently? What kind of decisions you would make now that you've made in the past, and that you were like, say, yeah, that wasn't a bad decision we've made? Let's do like a few examples, like just top 5 basically, because there's a lot of things you might be doing differently.
Yeah, definitely.
Top 5.
Basically, I think that we would build it like we are building it now, on steroids. I mean that with the better outcomes without spending time on some side tasks that we have. So first of all, you should have an aim, and all decisions you need to make based on this aim. Because there are a lot of things, of course, listeners will think, okay, we have an aim. We have an aim of, for example, earning $1 million per month. But during the year, are you asking yourself if you are really doing this to earn more? For example, you are, what can be the example? The example somehow with the salary of the developers. So, you want to you are fighting with the developer to raise or not to raise the salary, and you are asking yourself, will it help? So if you will keep his salary on this level, will it help you to earn 1 million? Probably no. Of course, you will have more revenue, but not the whole, not the revenue, but you will earn a little money. Yeah. And if you raise the salary for this developer, and this is the core developer, you will keep them, and with his experience, you will receive better project, and this thing will lead you to the aim. So we had such problem at the beginning. Of course, we tried to be very economic. So when you try to save some money, it's not leading you to your goal.
Right. The cost of opportunity, sometimes it's more expensive than the cost of the short-term gain that you get.
Yeah, that's true. So you always need to ask yourself if it helps you to achieve this goal.
Your goal.
This is the first. Then the second, probably the knowledge base, and you need to keep your knowledge internally. Of course, you should keep your people, of course, as you want, but sometimes it is just unachievable. And you need to keep those knowledge internally and spend a lot of time on the experience exchange, of course, and keeping all the knowledge inside the company with the documents, maybe with some discussions or something like that. So this is very important, because you can have a very experienced developer who built multiple exchanges, but after he will walk away, your experience will disappear, and that's all, and you will be at the beginning. And experience exchange will help you to grow much more faster. Of course, you need to build the basics. You need to understand how you are working and why you are working that, and build the system how you will improve that. So after some time, for example, every 3 months, then every half a year, every year, you need to ask yourself, does it really work or no? And change something or leave it. Then you need to have the KPIs, of course. And I guess it's top 4, which not top 5. I can't
And
recall any top 5.
don't do fixed price and do custom
That,
material
yes,
from the.
this would be top 5.
Um, all right. Can you share with us some basic metrics, year-to-year growth, SAS, CIS, CAC, or LT, LTV, churn, something like that people could understand? Like, okay, this is kind of the benchmark that we have. This is something we wanted to improve, but this is something that like we have a very good metric that you guys can look at and say, this is a good metric.
Well, I know that everybody wants to hear the metrics. What can I say here from our... So I can say that we are still growing even on this market. So we gained 10% last, even more, I guess. And comparing to previous years, we gained even more. So even during a war, even a decrease in market, and in crypto, it is a bear market. We have raised. I was not satisfied actually during this year, and
so 10% minimum, 10%
yes.
minimum growth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But you can do like 20-30% basically with this.
Yeah, and we know all those things which can work. So I was just not satisfied because I saw those opportunities that we can improve that, but we haven't done that. And we just lost this. I thought that we lost, but we spoke with a lot of companies, and I don't know how it's in marketing. Maybe you can tell, but a lot of development companies, they are feeling the decreasing of, they are shrinking, they are firing the developers, and they really have a huge loss. And maybe sometimes even up to 50% minus, something like that.
I've spoken with several companies. They said that the cost of service, like the cost of servicing a client, direct cost, should be something between, in the best case scenario, 30%, and it goes up to 50%. Like, do you feel the same? Do you guys have the same numbers, or what's the benchmark that companies should be looking at?
You mean the margin that you're receiving?
The cost of service. So it's like all the direct costs, plus then you add the indirect costs, and then cost of acquisition, and then margins. So first, like the cost of service, like it should be like essentially like I think like developers plus overhead plus PMs plus anything like direct costs of servicing the client.
Well, yeah, I agree with those numbers. I should ask our finance department manager, but I guess that we are somewhere between 40 and 50%. On some project with a fixed price, of course, more, but this is a bad example. On such fixed price projects, it's usually like 60 to 70.
And then when you look at the margins, like on the company level, on the project level, what could be the benchmark in terms of the percentage?
We are aiming 30%.
30%.
Yeah, we are aiming 30%, but sometimes it can be up to 10, so 10, 30, something like that. But we, of course, usually aiming to 30. But it gives us a little bit more flexibility, and that's why we can operate with this to build a more successful product.
Gotcha. Last weird question. If your agency was a superhero, which one would it be and why?
It's hard to... I mean, it's easy to say something primitive here. I should try my best, I guess. Well, I guess that the easiest way will be to say that we are an Iron Man, but it will be cringe and very obvious. Let's say Doctor Strange, for a white auditory, because he is a strategic thinker, and we really like this approach, and we want to have it internally. He serves people, and he is very flexible in his opportunities. But for some specialists in comics, let it be Moon Knight.
You want to decipher the Moon Knight or not? So it's like it's thought that he has two personalities. Which
gives him flexibility and more opportunities. So yeah, we have we are working with the blockchain, 80% main personality and 10% marketplaces personality and something like that. But he also a very good person, I guess, with the bad history, but he improved. and he's serving people right now and making good solutions.
Max, thank you so much for joining me for this interview. Love to learn more about Peiko and your journey, and congrats on your success and to many more success to come.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me here, and thanks for opportunity to share our experience.